How's it going, guys? So, it's been a while since I made my What Does RuneScape 3 Do Right video, and this was a series that I did plan on carrying on. And I did ask you guys at the end of that video if I should do a old school RuneScape version, and people seem to like the idea of it. So, here is the old school RuneScape version of What Does Old School RuneScape Do Right. Hopefully you enjoy the video, hopefully you agree with the points. Obviously this is going to be just 5 points, and points that I think are fairly important. There is a hell of a lot more that this game does right and does absolutely brilliantly. So don't think I'm forgetting those out because there's so many of them. I just wouldn't be able to list them in enough time for you guys to not get bored. So that's why the ones I've picked are the ones I've picked. They're just my opinion. And of course, let me know in the comments what you think I should have included, if there's anything that I should have included instead. And I'd love to discuss it with you guys. In case you haven't noticed, we are so close to 1,000 subscribers, and at the moment of recording this, we're already on 932, and it's absolutely amazing. I love the support you guys have been giving me. If you do enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like and also subscribe to the channel, because we're not stopping at 1,000 subs. We're going to carry on because I'm enjoying making the videos for you guys and interacting with you guys in the comments and everything like that. So let's just keep it going. Anyway, let's get into this video. So number one on this list is going to be something that is very unique in old school RuneScape, and that's going to be PvP. Now the PvP in this game is full loot, and it is actually high skilled for how it looks. Now a lot of people may take a look at the PvP in old school RuneScape and think, it's just click and attack. Well, no, actually there's a lot of little things you can do in this game to give you an edge in PvP, and there's a lot of different sort of things that you have to work around with the tick manipulating and prayer switching, weapon switching to use special attacks, knowing which armor to use at the right time, and a hell of a lot more that even I don't understand. I am not a massive PKer in this game. It's something I really want to learn, but it's going to take a lot of time for me to do so. However, PvP in old school RuneScape is such a massive big part of the game, and there's massive communities dedicated to it, clan chats dedicated to it, and it goes all the way from people just fighting each other to see what loot they can get from an arranged fight to see who can come out on top and get the other person's loot, or people going deep into the wilderness searching for someone carrying some absolutely juicy loot and trying to take them on and take them for their items as well. The great thing about the PvP in this game, as I mentioned before, is the fact that it is full loot except for items that you can protect. So if you have a skull, for example, then you will lose all your items on death unless you have a prayer which can protect one item. If you don't have a skull and you die, then you will protect 3 items, and if you have the prayer you can protect a 4th item as well, but everything else in those situations will be lost. So if you have a skull, don't have that prayer active because maybe someone's drained it with an ability, and you do die, you will lose absolutely everything. So if you go into the wilderness with something very valuable, say a weapon to help you kill other people, and then you die, you could lose that, and it's high risk, high reward, and it just gives such a rush to people who have put loads of time into this, and also it just makes it feel incredibly rewarding. As I mentioned, the skill cap in PvP in old school is incredibly high because a lot of timings into it, a lot of speed on changing your prayers to stop taking as much damage from other people, and just knowing exactly when to do certain things is something that you will learn over time. And if you look on YouTube, there's loads of people that are incredibly good at this, and you'll be watching me in the background trying to join in on some sort of PvP in some sort of way, but you'll probably notice that I'm not that good at it. But you know, time will only tell if I'll get any better, and we practice. So number one on this list is going to be PvP, and this is a massive part of old school RuneScape, so definitely important to mention. My second point on this list is going to be nostalgia. Now, old school RuneScape has brought back so much memories from people playing back in the day. The original RuneScape released in 2001, this was RuneScape Classic, and RuneScape 2, which was an updated version of this, released in 2004. Now, old school RuneScape is a version that they brought back from 2007, so this just sort of brings back all the memories that people had. And along the way during RuneScape 2, a lot of people would have quit on a lot of updates that people just really weren't happy with. For example, at one point the trade limit was removed, and this means that people couldn't trade any sort of free wealth across to other people. People used to like giving gifts to people, or just having that factor that you can literally go to someone and trade whatever you wanted to do. And also they removed the wilderness as well. This was to combat gold farming, but it created a massive uproar in the community along other players because it just removed a lot of the freedom of the game. However, people quit and numbers weren't really the same again since that. They did bring it back and it did sort of get fixed, but people still didn't return to the amount of people that there was, and a lot of players just never came back to the game. And then also moving into RuneScape 3 when EOC was introduced, which is the evolution of combat, even more players weren't happy with this update because it changed how the combat worked in the game, and people just weren't interested. It wasn't the same game that they were used to, and they felt like it was time to just quit and move on to other games. So people quit, numbers dropped again, and then Old School RuneScape was introduced, bringing it back to 2007 with the free trade active and with the old combat style. So this brought back a lot of people thinking, wow, they've brought out an old school version of this, I'm going to go back and give it a go. And as soon as those people logged in, just to even test it, thinking they weren't going to even stick around probably, ended up playing hours and hours and hours, and I guarantee a lot of those people are still playing today. RuneScape is one of those games that if you are hooked on it, then you are hooked on it for the long haul, and you're probably not going to be quitting. You'll probably take a break, end up coming back, but Old School RuneScape delivered such a nostalgia, like, it was insane. People just loved the old version of RuneScape, and obviously they've kept it as it was. They're not going to be changing that. Obviously they're adding new things to the game, but the style of the game isn't going to be changing because people just seem to love it. So the second point on this list was nostalgia, and if you ask any of the Old School RuneScape players that have been around for a long time, then they will agree completely that nostalgia is a massive big part of this game. The third thing on this list that I wanted to mention, which in my opinion is such a big move in MMORPGs for all games really, and it was such a positive thing that they did, and this is going to be polling for updates or content changes in Old School RuneScape. Now what I mean by this is when Jagex wanted to add content to the game, or they had an idea for where they wanted the game to go, they polled everything. There was votes on it and the community got to decide on the final sort of way that things were going to be going. So if they would come up with an idea of, say, they wanted to add summoning back to the game, they would have polled this to other players, and all the players would have been able to go in game and vote at a voting station or a polling station. And if the proposed content didn't get a 75% or higher sort of vote rate, then it wouldn't have been introduced into the game. They wanted 75% of the players to want that into the game, and that just means that the players basically get to pick how the game goes, develops, and just the future of it really. The great thing about this is just showing that Jagex really was listening to the players of Old School RuneScape. They cared a lot about their game. Obviously this is a really old game, so it shows that they've put so much commitment into it. They've been listening to their players' thoughts, what they want, and they put that first. In Old School RuneScape, they literally poll it. If it doesn't pass, then it doesn't get in. And that's such a good thing to do, because if it's all decided by the players, then the game usually stays in such a good state, because how successful an update or content is in a game is all dependent on how players react to it, how many players are using it, and whether it's even useful for the game. And if players aren't going to use that content, if they really think, no, that's absolutely worthless, pointless, don't want it, then they poll it, it doesn't get through, Jagex don't put it in, and then there's nothing bad put into the game that players didn't want. However, there are some negatives to how they are doing this, but I think I'll save that for another video, because this is a positive video focusing on what does Old School RuneScape do right, and we don't want any negative stuff. Anyway, number 3 on this list is the fact that Jagex let the community poll and vote for updates and content changes, and it basically everything is left for the community to decide on, and if it doesn't get polled and doesn't get accepted, then it usually doesn't get put into the game. Number 4 on this list is going to be the community. Now, Old School RuneScape has a absolutely massive community, and there's a lot of content creators for this game, and it all gets incredibly creative. There's a lot of streamers, a lot of YouTubers, and they're all going out there and making unique sort of content, and Not only that, they all get involved with the community themselves, whether it be their own community or each other's community. You'll find YouTubers doing videos together to make more unique content, doing challenges and other things all like that. And not only that, they're incredibly creative with the sort of videos they make. For example, some people will spend thousands of hours just getting killed on the same boss, just to show everyone what the loot would be if they did the same, or other people will go out of their way to make sort of like a storyline along with stuff, and other players get super invested into their series. Now, not only YouTubers and streamers are the community of this game, all the players get involved with each other as well, coming together to do raids and stuff, which is, it's an MMORPG. Yeah, okay, people are going to be doing that, but just for example, the friends chat in this game, there's plenty of things where there's sort of like services around the game. For example, there's a friends chat called Deliver Items that literally, if you join it, you can ask someone to deliver you items, so you don't have to go to the bank, you don't have to go to the Grand Exchange and get them yourself. If you're somewhere training and it's awkward to get back to, you can literally jump in there and ask someone to deliver it to you. Also, they have PvP friends chats where people will go around in big groups and get in a big clan and then go PvPing together, and this game really just does really well about pulling the community together. They actually create a community, they bring everyone together, they listen to stuff, and they're clearly building this game to go towards sort of actually an MMORPG where you play with other people, and they've made it really easy to do so. So the community in this game is actually pretty damn awesome, and if you are even doubting me in the slightest, if you don't play this game, go on to Twitch and find yourself an old school RuneScape streamer and just sort of see how that all comes together, and search on YouTube old school series, things like that, and you'll find some stuff that you'll be quite impressed with. So of course, one of the points on this list has been community. I couldn't not mention this because the community in old school RuneScape is such a big part of why it's such a good game and definitely deserves a spot on this list. So moving on to number 5, our fifth and final point of this video is going to be quests. Now, I mentioned this in my What Does RuneScape 3 Do Right video, but you can't really make a video like this and not mention the quests in RuneScape because they are so good, and I would have to say that questing in RuneScape is probably the most amazing questing experience in any MMORPG, just because the storylines that each quest comes with, they all have their own sort of storyline. They're not the sort of quest where you're going to go out and kill some wolves or something and then hand it back in, and then go kill a little bit more wolves and hand it back in, and it's not just collect this and bring me that. It's a lot of sort of puzzles that you've got to work out, there's a story behind it, there's actually genuine reasons to even complete them as well. So each individual quest will likely give you a reward that will help you out a hell of a lot, more than just a very little bit of experience. Some will give you specific experience to help you level up quicker, or some will give you an item that will help you out a lot during your time playing old school RuneScape, and there's a lot of items that are really unique and you do need to do quests to even get them. For example, the Barrow's Gloves being the best in slot are definitely something that a lot of people work towards, doing Recipe for Disaster, things like that. So the questing in this game is just absolutely incredible. Like I say, there's no repetitive stuff. It all has sort of storylines to it, and all the quests even link together. So you'll have one big quest that you might want to unlock a new magic spellbook for, and you'll have to go through and do quest after quest after quest that unlock all of that, and it comes as one big story and adventure, and at the end of it you get a big reward that makes it feel like it's all sort of worth it. And in all honesty, they're really super rewarding, just because even myself, someone who really is too lazy to go out and do quests, once I've started doing them, even I find them really enjoyable. So the quests in this game are incredibly fun to do and also incredibly rewarding, and that is why it has number 5 on this list. And to be honest, this list is definitely not in any order specifically, otherwise this would probably be between number 1 and number 2. That brings us pretty much to the end of the points that I wanted to give in this video, and to the end of the video, I suppose. So if you did enjoy the video, then make sure, as always, to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, or if you enjoyed the video and you're not subscribed yet, then make sure to subscribe. I just wanted to sort of point out to you guys why I've been focused on RuneScape for the last few videos. If you maybe subscribe for the content, then this is just because I have not had a decent internet connection at all, and I've been struggling to actually get onto some games at all. So I've been making some RuneScape content, and just sort of getting back into old school as well. I am planning on starting up a new series between old school and RuneScape 3, mixing them together. Let me know what you think in the comments. It's going to be something along the lines of, I have a maxed RuneScape 3 account, but I have a pretty low level old school account. So you can swap gold legally in the games. You can bring your RuneScape 3 gold over to old school RuneScape. And what I'm thinking of doing is using bossing as money making for RuneScape 3, transferring that to old school and helping out the account on there. Let me know what you think. Obviously, you'll be able to watch both at the same time, so it could be something new and unique. Let me know what you think in the comments, and as always, guys, I'll see you in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.